guys, what is up? Vero here, and I know it's been kind of a while, about a week or so since I've made a video of me talking besides stream highlights. And that is because I got really sick, and I'm still kind of getting over the cold, but I wanted to make a video, so yeah, let's do that. There will probably be a lot of random cuts in the video because I keep coughing, but before I get started, Kingdom Hearts necklace, recently got into it, whole nother story, and wearing my new online shirt! Oh yeah! I still need a good horde one. But anyway, so I wanted to make a video discussing my favorite World of Warcraft expansion. I made a video a few weeks ago that most people agreed with, but some people didn't, and it's the internet, it happens, boohoo, whatever. Where I basically talked about Warlords of Draenor being the worst expansion, and I still kind of feel that way. For me personally, it's been the most disappointing expansion that I've ever participated in, but that's a whole other story, and maybe as the expansion progresses, maybe my opinion will change, and maybe it'll get worse, or maybe it'll stay the same, I don't know. But I wanted to make a video talking about my favorite expansion, because everybody has a favorite, unless you just started playing, then you probably don't. So I am not a vanilla baby, or whatever you want to call yourselves, though I do like vanilla ice cream. But I started playing World of Warcraft in Burning Crusade. It was like 5 or so months after it came out or something, I don't know. But I wouldn't say that was my favorite expansion. I didn't really get to experience the game because I played for a few months, and then I took a break, and then I played for a few more months, and then I took like a really long break, and I never really fully got into the game or fully appreciated the game during the Burning Crusade, and that is kind of one of my biggest regrets with gaming in World of Warcraft. I kind of wish that I kind of leveled a little bit quicker, but I suck at leveling, so whatever. And then after Burning Crusade, we were introduced to Wrath of the Lich King. And I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this and be called a Wrath baby, but you know what, you can go at yourself, because I really don't care. But I would probably honestly say Wrath of the Lich King was probably my favorite expansion so far. The reason being was I finally hit level cap. Don't judge me, I level slowly, okay? And I fully got to experience the game. You know, I've heard about raiding, and I was like, what? Let's do that. And then back then I was a feral kitty. I remember being in my first raid, and you know, people were explaining the fights to me. I looked them up on like Wowhead or something, and I was so nervous. And it was the first raid that I did was the one with the bugs, and for some reason I cannot remember. I can remember the boss's name, but I couldn't tell you the raid name if it fell into my lap. But I remember getting to the first boss, and it was like this giant bug, and like at certain points you kind of had to like back out of it or something. I don't remember, but I do remember people would get like webbed onto the wall, and you had to like go break them out. But I was a giddy little schoolgirl. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, they were calling commands, and I just could not stop giggling. I was just high on life in World of Warcraft. I just remember them being like, melee out, and I'd just be like, they said melee out. This is so cool. This is so much fun. Smiling ear to ear, I was the biggest dork. But I was so excited. It was so cool. You know, I never did anything like that before in a game. You know, I always played games with friends, but they were always sitting right next to me. And here I was in this raid of like 20-something people, and we were killing bosses, and I was getting gear, and I was learning more about my spec, and it was just so much fun, and I was just like, this is so cool! And who would know that like 5 years later I would still be playing the game, mostly. But my favorite part of raiding back then was, I remember we got to the Dance Dance boss. I don't remember his name, but I was melee, so I had experienced the dance the entire time, and I'm one of those people, I think I've mentioned this in videos before, that will research the F out of a fight. I never show up to a raid unprepared. I don't care if we're doing freaking normals, or we're doing heroic or mythic, or whatever you want to call it now. I will look up videos of the fight. I will look at raid guides of the fight. I will make notes. I have notebooks filled with fights from Siege of Orgrimmar, from Throne of Thunder. I have an entire book of notes from the place that I can't remember the name of anything. Dragon Soul. with doodles of the bosses in the corners. Like, that's just how I prepare for a raid. And I remember everyone being like, you know, the dance is really hard, a lot of people fail, don't worry if you die, blah, 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 blah. I remember my friend found an animated image of, like, how the actual fight works, because it was, you know, panel, you move, panel, move, you know, and you keep going, and then you go back and forth, and I can proudly say today I did not die. That first night, everyone was really impressed. They were like, whoa, the new girl didn't die. That's awesome. It's like, yeah, I'm so good at the game. I didn't die. But it really exposed me to raiding and the game itself. And I remember, you know, that was when Death Knights came out, and everyone was just like, meh, DKs. But I ended up leveling one, and I named her Buffet, like Buffeh, as a joke, and I ended up falling in love with the class, and it's still a character that I sometimes play today. Although I don't know if she will ever make it to 100, but I kind of just fell in love with it, and I ended up leveling alts and falling in love with those characters, and, you know, I didn't actually get to see ICC, because I wasn't really raiding that much. I was kind of, you know, raiding a little bit, and raiding when people needed kind of somebody to like, DPS or something. And then Wrath of the Lich King was also when I first learned to heal. You know, at the time, my friend and I would just do dungeons, and that was when you didn't have the dungeon finder. You had to find people in your realm, and you did dungeons together, and we teamed up with this, like, other warlock. She was played a warlock. And we ended up hanging out with him, and kind of becoming friends with him, I guess, and we ended up joining his guild. He needed more people to do 10-man raiding, and he ended up inviting us, and we're like, yeah, sure, whatever. For, like, Oldawar, and maybe eventually some ICC or whatever. Very super casual, like 2 days a week or something. I don't even remember. But they needed a healer, and I played a druid, and the only thing I knew how to do was feral. That was all I knew how to do was slash things with a cat. So I was completely nervous, but I remember I downloaded Healbot, which I refused to heal with again. And we went into a dungeon, and they taught me how to play Resto, and I was petrified, thinking I could never live without your backside. But I was completely terrified, but it was so much fun. I just fell in love with healing, and I ended up healing in the raids, and I got a lot of compliments on it, like, wow, you're pretty good, blah, 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 blah. Although I guess healing wasn't really that difficult, has healing ever been difficult? But it was kind of cool to, like, take on this whole new role and do it. In Wrath, I also learned how to tank, as well as play some ranged DPS. I learned Boomkin for a little bit, and I did some bear tanking, and I also did tanking on my Death Knight, which was kind of cool to kind of do each role. So I would definitely say Wrath of the Lich King is probably my favorite expansion. I also have some good memories in Cataclysm, as well as Mist of Pandaria, and a few memories so far in Warlords of Draenor, even though I'm not feeling the expansion as a whole. But I would say Wrath of the Lich King has my heart. I mean, how can you not love Arthas? How can you not love Arthas? I mean, I just thought the story was cool, and then that end fight, oh my god. The first time I did the Lich King fight, no one told me that you die. So I freaked out. We died, and I'm like, oh my god, what happened? Like, did I do something wrong? Why did we wipe? And they're like, just wait, don't hit release. Okay. And, you know, you had, like, the cinematic, and then you got rezzed, and then you, like, beat them down, and I was just like, that was the coolest thing ever. But I remember I panicked. I didn't have a towel or anything. I panicked. If you don't get that reference, I don't know if you and I can be friends anymore. But I want to know what your favorite expansion so far has been, and why. And also, what's your least favorite? Right now, my least favorite is probably still Warlords of Draenor, which is kind of disappointing since it's the current content, but I just overall haven't been pleased with it. Maybe I'll make another video talking about that, but whatever. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. I'm going to try to start getting back into video making. It's kind of hard when you get sick and when you don't really know what to make videos about, but if you have any requests for videos, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and I will try and do that. But yeah, I will talk to you guys later, and if you have a great rest of your day, and the weekend's almost here, so whoop whoop, that's me partying. And by partying, I mean playing video games. Because that's a party, right? With weaponry? I don't know where it's going with that. Alright, bye.